Hey people, you know why I'm here. It's time to learn some new technology in another GenTech episode. Let's go. The fifth episode of GenTech is about Slack, a communication platform that uses instant messages, similar to AOL instant messaging. Businesses typically use this platform to communicate with their team members and their coworkers, but in this instance, I'm going to show you how you can use it to communicate with your family. In this presentation, I'll briefly go over a couple of topics. Communicating with your family virtually, I'll talk about what the heck Slack is, how you may want to structure it, what all the features are in Slack, and I'll show you a demo of how to use Slack with your family. Despite everything that's going on with the pandemic right now, it actually provides us with an opportunity to utilize creative ways to stay engaged and stay connected with our family. For example, with my family, we've been utilizing tools such as Zoom to stay connected and to reconnect with each other virtually. Additional benefits of communicating with your family virtually include just checking in on those who are isolated. Because we can't travel and see each other, it's easy to just hop onto a technology and to engage with your family members that way. Technology, in some instances with tools like Zoom or Slack, also provide some less barriers to attending, such as cost and time. If you think about physical family reunions, you have to take off time from work, you have to save up money to actually attend the reunion, and then you have to travel to the reunion. With a tool like Slack, you can just log on and talk to your family member. Some considerations you might want to keep in mind as you're thinking about communicating with your family virtually are who will actually be open to this. You may encounter some relatives who are adverse to technology, don't want to have anything to do with it, and that's fine. But in order for you to choose and use tools that are going to work, you're going to want to consider who is actually going to be using those tools. You also want to consider who can actually use the technology. There may be barriers in that instance as well. To help try to eliminate those barriers, think about who your super users could be. Super users don't have to be super great at technology. They can just be people in your family who are excited about whatever tool you want to use and who are quick learners who can help other people in the family also get on board. So if you're using Slack and family members don't really understand how to use it, you may be able to pinpoint maybe 2 or 3 people who understand how it works and are willing to help other family members get on board with it. With any tool, you also want to consider if there are costs involved. Will you need to pay for the tool? And if you do need to pay for it, who in the family is going to pay for it? And that can also be an issue as well. More than that, you want to think about how you're going to keep your family engaged. You can go ahead and tell them, hey, let's go ahead and use this tool. This is going to be fun. This is going to be awesome. You get everyone signed up, and then no one does anything. So you have to think creatively about what's going to get people to keep coming back. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to have at least one first successful session with your family members, whether that's a successful Zoom call or a successful Slack conversation. So Slack is a communication and collaboration platform. It's similar to a chat room. Like I said, it has instant messaging capabilities, but it's a lot more organized. And I'll show you what that means in a minute. It's intended for workplace teams, so of course this is not a family history tool, and it was originally created to replace email. If you are in the workforce or ever were in the workforce, you probably know what it means to get a huge inbox load of email. And Slack was intended to try to alleviate some of that inbox pain. With Slack, as I said, it's more organized than instant messaging. You can utilize channels to structure your communications. You can chat with others privately or publicly. You can have one-on-one video calls or one-on-one audio calls. And there are a bunch of app integrations which help to extend Slack's features. So this is an example of what channels look like. This is actually a screenshot from my family's Slack group. And so, as you can see, you can set up different topics for each channel. You can think of a channel as a chat room. So any communications that happen in the current events channel relate to current events that are going on. We may be talking about COVID-19 or talking about police brutality or any number of events that are pertinent to us. I also have a channel for various regions. So for my family members who live in Georgia, they have a special chat room where they can talk about maybe meeting up at some point or doing something as it relates to their state. Now you can have as many channels as you want, and they can be on any topics you want as well. So you don't have to follow this structure. This is just an example to kind of get you started and get you inspired. You may also want to think about using channels to make announcements as well as to do event planning. Maybe you guys are planning on doing an in-person family reunion maybe a year or two from now. You can have a channel specifically for family reunions, and anyone who is helping to organize the family reunion can have conversations there. As I mentioned, you can communicate privately or in groups, and so this is just a screenshot showing you what that kind of looks like. You get the person's picture, if they have one here, and their name, and at the bottom, you get the conversation back and forth. Slack does have some app integrations, which help to provide more features. Some example integrations include Zoom, so you can use that to start or join a Zoom call directly from Slack. You can utilize Google Calendar if you're creating events. You can create them from Slack and view your calendar from Slack. Dropbox allows you to share files between people in Slack. And Google Drive allows you to create new documents directly from Slack. So if you want to collaborate on a Google document together, you can go ahead and just do it directly in Slack. So if you're working on a Google document and you want to work on it together with other people, you can do that directly from Slack. So all of this sounds pretty cool, so you're probably wondering, what's the catch? Well, Slack does have paid plans, but they do have a free version as well. So that includes 10 app integrations. So the Google Calendar, the Zoom, the Dropbox, you can include 10 of those app integrations. It also includes one-on-one voice or video calls. And in Slack, you're limited to searching only the latest 10,000 messages in Slack, which that's a lot, but as you have more conversations, you'll realize how much of a limit that can be. If you do end up liking Slack a lot and you want to pay for it, some of the features that are included with the paid plans include group calls, having more app integrations, and the ability to search for more than those 10,000 messages. So in order to get set up with Slack, you want to go to slack.com. When you get there, you'll get the screen here, and you'll click on this Get Started button. Once you click Get Started, you'll get an additional screen here, and you'll want to click Create a Slack Workspace. So a workspace is where everything you have for your family in Slack lives. So you have all of your family members, all of your communications, all of your app integrations, all of your channels, all of those are in a Slack workspace. Now you can have more than one Slack workspace. For my family, I have one just for one family name. But if other members in other branches or other families in my family want to have a Slack, I would suggest that they use their last name. So once you create a new Slack workspace, it's going to first ask you to enter in your email. Once you do that, you can click on that confirm button. And I typically uncheck these send me additional emails boxes, so you can uncheck that as well. Once you enter in your email, they're going to send you a confirmation code. So you'll want to check your email. It may be in your spam, but once you get that code, you'll just enter it in to these blanks here. Once you've done that, it's going to ask you, what is the name of your company or your team? And of course, we're not a business or anything like that. So this would be where you would name your Slack workspace. So for this example, I just named it Family Group. But as I said, for my family, we just name it our last name. Next, it'll ask you, what's a project your team is working on? So this is just to get you started with creating your channels in Slack, so you can think about what kinds of topics you may want people to discuss. For this example, I just created a family reunion channel. And then you click Next. After this, it's going to ask you to start adding people to your Slack workspace. You don't have to do that right away. If you do know people that you're going to want to invite, you can enter in their email address and then click Add Teammates, or you can just click Skip for now. I'll also point out that over here on the right, it's kind of giving you a preview of what your Slack workspace is going to look like. So at the top here, I have Family Group as the name of my workspace. And then in my channels, I have Family Reunion as one of my channels that are set up. Once that's done, it's going to finalize everything. And it says that my channel, Family Reunion, is created. And I can click on the See Your Channel in Slack to see what it looks like. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the demo and check it out. Now, when you first log into Slack, you're going to see your workspace that you just set up. You're going to get a welcome to Slack message, and they're going to give you a few steps to get started. So the first step is assembling your team. You can put in the names of your relatives here, so their name and then their email address, and then you can click invite. This will send them an automated email from Slack, just providing them with instructions on how to get added to your Slack workspace. You can also set up a greeting. So as soon as people get into Slack, they'll see this automatic message. Then you can start using Slack for the Family Reunion project. So you can start using the Family Reunion channel. Now, of course, you don't have to go through these steps if you don't want to. In fact, I'm just going to give you a broad overview of the layout of Slack. So over here at the top, you can search for any messages or any people in Slack by using the search bar. Over here on the right, you get your help area. So if you have any questions about how to use Slack or you want to learn some tips, you can always click on this icon here. And then this time clock kind of icon will provide you an overview of the history of things that have happened in Slack. So recent places that you've been to in your Slack workspace. So over here on the left, you'll get a majority of the locations you'll be navigating between, as well as the majority of the functions you'll be using in Slack. At the top here, you'll see the Slack workspace. So mine is called Family Group, but for you, it may be whatever you want to name it. You get yourself, so this is the name that other people see you as. And then I have a green dot, which indicates my status as being active. Now I can change my status at any time by clicking on this down arrow and then clicking update your status. So I can say any of these options. These may not be relevant because Slack is more for a business context. So you could set up whatever status you want. So if I'm saying busy talking on the phone, I can set it up that way. And I can even choose an emoji that represents that. I could just put like a phone. And then I can choose when I want to clear that message. So when people won't see that status anymore. So if I'm satisfied with that, I can click save. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel because I don't want to set my status. Under this get started area, you have people, apps, and files. The people directory is going to be a directory of all of those individuals who are in your Slack workspace and people that you've invited. So myself is here. I have another person, just a test account that I created, and they're available here. As you'll notice, right next to their name, the circle is hollowed out, and that indicates that they're away. So they're away from their computer, they're away from Slack, and they're not using it. If you had other people in your Slack workspace and you wanted to find them quickly, you could search for them by name, by role, or by team. You can also filter and look for specific account types. Now, by default, I believe that people who you add in Slack are added as full members. If you want to invite more people to Slack, you can click Invite People at the top right here, and then just enter in their email address, and you can enter in their name if you want to. And then you click Send Invitations. Now, if you want to see the status of additional invitations that you've sent out, you can click See Past Invites at the bottom left here. And it will open up Slack in another window. And it will show you those pending invitations. If I click Accepted, it'll show me those individuals who have accepted an invitation. Now I'm going to close this window out. Close out this one. Next we have apps. Apps are going to be all of those integrations that I mentioned previously. So they're going to show you some of the more popular ones at the top here, like Google Drive, Google Calendar, Trello, Zoom. There's a bunch of app integrations, so I highly suggest looking through some of these and just check them out, try them out, see if you like them, and see if you want to add them to your Slack workspace. Files will be where any files that you've attached in messages in your Slack work group will be located. So you can search for files in this location and find files from across your workspace, regardless of what channel those files are located in. Over here on your left, you also get channels. So right now, I only have the family reunion one, as well as the general and the random channels. General and random are created by Slack by default, so this is intended to be for more general conversation that doesn't have a specific topic. Random is for more random conversations, I suppose. And then family reunion is the one that I created. So if I click on family reunion, it shows me this channel's homepage, so to speak. So it tells me the name of the channel, how many people are in that channel, and whenever you invite people to Slack, they should automatically get added to any channels that you've created or any channels that you've specified. Because you can set up channels in such a way that only certain people can access certain channels. Now it's saying loading history, and this may be a glitch on their end, but this is because there's no history in this channel just yet. So the way that a channel works is it's essentially a chat room for a specific topic. So this channel is related to family reunions. If I want to further emphasize to people that that's what this channel should be used for, I can click add a topic and put a little note here. And then click set topic. And so it'll show up at the top here. Now you'll see that this has also changed a little bit because I've done a little bit of activity. So first it shows that I joined the channel when I created it. And then it also shows that I've set the channel topic and what that topic is. I can even add more description if I want to. And I can add apps specifically for certain channels. You also get the option to add people directly to this channel as well. So if I were sharing this channel with someone else, as I mentioned, currently there are 2 people in it. If I click on this person icon, it'll tell me I'm in the channel as well as this testing person is in the channel. So if I make a little message, I can send it, and anyone who has access to this channel will be able to respond. So if I have another family member who has access to this channel, they can see this message and they can respond directly to me. So anyone who has access to this channel will be able to see the conversations that go on in this space. Now, if people are talking in this channel and it gets a little bit chaotic, they can always mention someone directly. What I mean by mention is you type in the @ symbol as well as the name of that person, and it will send them a notification to know that they have been mentioned in a specific area in Slack. So this notification will come through in the web browser if you've enabled those notifications, in the mobile app if you have a mobile application for Slack, and it'll appear in your email as well if you have that set up. Now, when you send messages in Slack channels or in direct messages, you still have all of your usual formatting functionalities. So I can type a message, and I can bold things, I can italicize things, I can even set up bulleted list or numbered list. I can use emojis. And I can attach files. And so you would click on your computer and find the file that you want to attach. Now, if you add a file to a specific channel, the people who are in that channel will have access to that file. Now, if you want to add another channel, you can click on this Add a Channel button here and click Create a Channel. And then say you want to have a channel about maybe discussing family history. You type in the name. I suggest if you have a name that has spaces, you either put a hyphen or some sort of symbol between the words or keep the words smushed together. I typically like to keep them hyphenated just because it's a little bit easier for people to read. You can set the description, and then you can choose whether or not the channel is private. So if I mark it as private, that means that only people who are invited to the channel have access to it. Now, if the channel is public, that means that whenever I invite someone to Slack, they will automatically have access to this channel. So I'm going to just keep it public and click Create. And so after I've done that, it's going to ask me who I want to add to the channel. So I can set it up so that anyone who automatically joins the family group, work group, joins the channel, which is what I want, or I can set it to not do that. If I set it to not do that, I will also have to send people invitations specifically to this channel. So I suggest keeping this as a default unless you don't want certain people to access this. Then you can decide if you want to add all members of family group or only add specific people. If I add specific people, as you'll notice at the bottom, it automatically grays this out because it's not going to automatically add everyone to the channel. I'm going to just say add all members and click done. Now it's going to show me the channel. So as you can see, I'm currently in the family history channel. All of these channels will be alphabetized, by the way, so whenever you create new ones, it may change the order a little bit. As you can see, there's still 2 people in this channel. It's going to be me as well as the only other person in this workspace, so testing. You may also see this Slack bot whenever you create things in Slack. This is just a helpful little bot or automated tool that provides suggestions and offers tips and tricks as you work through Slack. As you can see, whenever the Slack bot appears, their messages are only visible to you because you're the person who's created these items in Slack. And then it's pretty much the same way as I showed you in the family reunion. You type a message, you can mention people. You can also mention people by channel. So if I wanted to type a message and send a notification to everyone who has access to this channel, I can type @ and then click channel, and it will notify everyone who has access to the channel. Now I can also view details about a specific channel. To do that, go over here to the right and click details. And then you can quickly add people. You can find certain things. If you want to do some searching within this channel, you can do that. You can start a call, but this is only available if you have the paid plan. And what this would do is it would create a call for everyone who is in the channel. There are also additional options to allow you to mute the channel. So if you're getting a lot of notifications, a lot of people are talking in this channel and you don't want any more, you can click mute in that channel name. You can also add apps from this menu as well. Now, if someone decides that they don't want to be a part of a channel anymore, they can always click more and click leave that specific channel. The details menu is also great because it allows you to quickly view any files that have been added in this channel. So if people have been talking and attaching files and things, you can quickly see those files here if you need to reference them in the future. Other functionalities you may be interested in while you're in a channel or when you're direct messaging someone, if you hover over their message, you can click on one of these icons. So you can add a reaction, which is just a very quick way to apply an emoji or just to display how you feel about something. So if I say cool, I can add a thumbs up there. You can also share this message with other people, and you can save the message so you can view it at a later time. Now let's go ahead and get into direct messages. So direct messages are different from channels in that they are private. They are only between you and the other person in your conversation or other people in your conversation, because you can have one-on-one direct messages as well as group direct messages. If I wanted to start a direct message with someone, I can find their name on the list here, click on their name, and then send them a message. And so you'll know you're messaging a specific person when you see their name at the top here as well as at the bottom here. And so when you send it, it will go directly to this person and they will receive a notification. Now, if you prefer to call this person instead, you can click on the call icon here and it will start an audio call with that person. Once that call is started, you also have the ability to share your video as well as share your screen if you need to do that. Any apps that you're using with your Slack workspace will show up here. If I want to add some apps, I can click on this plus symbol here. Now, anytime that there is a new message in a channel, that channel will be highlighted in bold and it will be a white color. So if I go to family history, I'll see that there's been a new message because there's been a reaction that's happened here. Now, another way that you can send messages in Slack is by using this Send New Message button at the top. Once you click on it, you can either type in the name of the person that you want to send a message to, or even the name of the channel that you want to send a message to. So if I wanted to send a message to testing, I would just type their name, click on them, and then send them a message. Or if I change my mind, I could go back to the top, remove testing, and then maybe type in the name of a channel. So maybe I want to send a message to family history. I can click on it like that and then send a message. If you ever need to change any of your account settings in Slack, you can go over to the top left here where your name is and click on it and then click View Profile. Here you can do things like change your name, add a title. If you click Edit Profile, you can actually upload an image. So if you want to share a photo of yourself with your family, you can do that. You can also add your phone number and also change your time zone. Make sure to click Save Changes once you've changed anything in this window. You can also change your password in Slack. To do that, click on the More button and then go to Account Settings. And then you're going to want to go to where it says Password, click on it, and then type in whatever your current password is. This will be set up whenever you get that email from Slack. And then you'll put in a new password. Once you've done that, go ahead and click Save Password. You can also change notification settings. So if you're getting way too many notifications, you can click on Notifications here. And then you can change how often you want to receive email notifications or any updates or things like that. I'll close out of this. I also want to mention that Slack does have a mobile app that's available for Android as well as iOS. And you can also download Slack to use directly on your computer as a desktop application. To install those things, you'll want to go to slack.com and find the links for those. So I hope this gave you a good idea of what's possible in Slack, especially as we think about communicating with our own family. I highly suggest you check it out and give it a try and see if it'll work for you. All right, that's the end of this episode. Until next time.